work out yesterday.
Adam is a good trainer too.
All right. All right. Talking about Cleveland and Toronto. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, folks. Welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck. My name is Adam Artuna. This is my mom, Gina. And today we are going to be talking about the Cleveland-Toronto series in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. This is going to be Game 5 of this series, and it is all knotted up 2-2, with Cleveland winning the first 2 at home and Toronto responding very nicely, winning the last 2 at home. And so now they're going back to Cleveland. And man, this is just going to be an exciting game tonight. What are your just initial thoughts? Who are you looking for? What do you expect? And what are some of the keys just for this last game here?
Well, I'm going to give you
this next game.
The next game, the game tonight. Well, my initial thought is, what? I mean, I really just thought, especially after not just how Cleveland won the first game, how Toronto lost the first game.
Sure.
They were given wide open looks. I mean, if you think LeBron James isn't going to barrel through the lane and dunk on you when you're giving him the lane, or if you are just standing there watching, you're sorely mistaken. And that's unfortunately what happened.
Yeah.
We already talked about what pep talk I would give them. Apparently they heard me or they didn't. I don't care either way because they responded.
I think they did because they responded just like you asked them to.
which is all of a sudden they got home and got brand new.
Yes.
They didn't. Here's the difference, and I want to be respectful of Cleveland. Cleveland won when they were supposed to win at home, but Toronto lost. They did not play well at all. They looked like they were defeated walking on the floor.
Yeah.
When they came back and beat Cleveland was playing. Toronto beat them, and they beat them soundly back-to-back games. And at one point in Game 2, Toronto was up by, 14 or 18 points. Cleveland not only closed that deficit, they went up by 1. And in the fourth quarter, it was a shot for shot for shot.
Right.
And at the end of the day, Toronto pulled it out and beat them and won the game. So I'm hitting you with the wow. I had no idea. I didn't see that coming. I really thought they might win one for pride.
Sure.
I had no idea. And not only did they win that game, came back and won the second game at home. We're tied up, ready to go.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question? I don't know. I'm just shocked is basically my answer.
The point, I guess, is just that they responded the way that you're supposed to. When you're down 2 games, your back is against the wall, you've got to come out with a new attitude, a new style, a new vibe, whatever you got to do. You got to scrap, claw, fight. To try to just do the best that you can, and they did that. They answered the bell, and so now they got to travel back to Cleveland tonight, which is going to be very tough, but I do think that Toronto's going to give them all that they can, and even if Cleveland gets this one, it's going to be a tough battle. I don't see this being a blowout. If they lose, it's maybe 10 points or so, which I think a lot of the analysts have it being, I think it's 10.5 by Vegas. But regardless, I think it's going to be a close matchup. I don't see it being like that Game 1 where, and let's be honest, Toronto in that first game was just defeated just because they just went through a long Game 7 series with Miami.
Right.
And Miami gave them all that they could handle. And so there was a lot going on there for Game 1. And so I think they finally found their stride. The thing about Toronto that everyone's talking about is the fact that they're really good at home. They win their home games in a very good fashion. So this is going to be a test for them once they go back to Cleveland tonight. And so we'll see how they show up. But,
the problem with being good at home is that in a series, you're going to have to be good on the road.
Correct.
I mean, there's another series going on that we will talk about where people are showing they're good on the road. Toronto's going to have to be good on the road. Here's my question to you. What, if anything, would help or would be a key to Toronto getting this one? And a lot of people would say stealing this one from the Cavs in Cleveland.
Right. Well, I think what they've got to do is feed off of kind of what their newfound center in Bismack Biyombo has been doing. He is playing just outside of his mind. And tonight, I don't think they necessarily have to play outside of their mind, but they've got to take that mentality that he's been playing with to Cleveland. Because what I don't want to see is they go to Cleveland and just say, oh, we're supposed to lose this one. We don't really care. We'll just let it happen. They need to fight for this one. And so the keys for that is making those shots, fighting for the extra rebounds, fighting for those 50-50 balls. You are on the road, so you're not going to get calls, and you can't get frustrated.
Right.
And if you miss a bunch of shots, you can't just sit there and now all of a sudden shrink and just say, oh, I can't do anything. You got to start attacking the basket. If your jumper's not there, you got to start getting fouled and making shots at the free throw line. You've got to stay aggressive. You can't just go into Cleveland thinking, oh, we're already going to lose. This one's over. We'll just try to, pack it in, and hopefully we can go back home to Toronto and win. You've got to take it to LeBron. You've got to put the pressure on these guys, and you've got to make it hard for them. And so I think if they just come out and play hard, die for the loose balls, do what you're supposed to do on the road, you might go ahead and, yeah, like you just said, steal one from Cleveland. And now you're up 3-2 with all of the momentum. So I just hope that they come out and do that.
Well, here's what I was going to say. If I might take my opportunity to play analyst here,
Sure.
which, I'm a fan of the game, but if I play analyst, here's what I thought. When I talk about stealing from someone, I'm capitalizing on their weakness. What I would say to Toronto tonight is capitalize on Cleveland's weakness. And right now, their weakness are two things. It's one, hubris, and two, scheme. And I felt like Tyronn Lue has helped them fix their scheme. They actually were running a pretty decent offense. If you watch them through the playoffs, there was a lot of screen and roll and a lot of circular movement around the outside of the perimeter, making defenses chase them and leaving open the three-point shot. All of a sudden, certain analysts were calling them Threeveland, like, believe in the threes or whatever.
Well, they were hitting. There was a streak there.
There was a streak of threes.
Yeah.
That being said, this is not a three-point shooting team. Every pro team in the NBA should be able to drain some threes.
Correct.
I'm not saying that, but some teams are built around the three. Cleveland is not and shouldn't be.
Right.
They're too big for that. And that takes me back to my first point. Here's their weakness. You got Kevin Love, who has sat out the fourth quarter of the last two games in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know why? Because he thinks his big behind ought to be outside shooting threes. What he needs to be doing is posting up. And then you post up, and then if LeBron comes in, you clear out. If LeBron gets stuff, which rarely happens, he can kick out to you and get the occasional three. Right. Instead, you've got Kevin Love out there thinking, I'm Steph Curry, who doesn't look that good right now. But my point is, who thinks he's supposed to, I'll say he thinks he's Kevin Durant. You're not. Right. What you need to do is get under the basket. So what I would say to Toronto is play up to the weakness. The Cleveland's showing you their hand. They got too many people wanting to be all-stars right now, and I feel like they lost a step over the last couple of series of playing like a team because the stuff they were doing was working. If Toronto comes in, plays hardcore defense, get out there, pull out on Kevin Love. If he's going to give you the lane, be in there, double down on the lane. So LeBron's either, you're not going to get every call. He's going to bump into you and they're not going to call it.
Sure.
But I would close up that lane. And by the way, Kevin Love, your three is off, son. Your three's off. You're not going to be able to do anything with Kyrie Irving because he's just the truth.
Yeah.
But there's ways to capitalize on the weaknesses going on in Cleveland. And I think if they come in scrapping, because the best thing about when nobody calls the win for you, go in there and just get it.
Right.
Go in there and take it from them. Cleveland's coming in with the same hubris that's carried them through. If you get up and smack them in the mouth, you can get this game on the road. You can do this.
Which is similar to what I was also just saying, and I totally agree with you. I just feel like this isn't an elimination game, but it is an important game because this game decides which the next game is potentially an elimination game.
Right.
And so if you go out there and play well, because Cleveland is already thinking, oh, we're back home, we're going to go ahead and get this. We got the refs on our side, we got the crowd on our side, we're back home. You go out there and do some things that they weren't expecting, like go for the loose balls, actually scrap for the game. You steal that one. Now you've got all of the power. Right now it's knotted up, so it's really anybody's.
Just went in my ear.
Oh, that's right. Well, we are outside and it is a little hot and humid.
You're making
so
a
if
good
you
point.
see some sweat dropping down my forehead, it's because I'm sweating. It's warm out here. It is summertime.
It is summer.
It's a little. It's I
got you off track.
But that's okay.
A bug went in my ear.
Well, a bug hit me earlier too, so that's all right. But the point with all that is being that Toronto has a chance, an opportunity to go out there and get one. You don't even have to say steal. They've earned these last two wins, and they have an opportunity today to go out there and get a W. If they go out there and play hard, don't make mental mistakes, turnovers, etc. Don't let the crowd get into it. There's a good chance that they could still win. Cleveland's got the upper hand because they're at home, but I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff going on today.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How much do you feel like the crowd impacts what's going on?
The crowd has a lot because they're loud. Certain people can get in players' heads. There's a lot of guys out there that are drunk and just belligerent fans that are yelling. They had to escort somebody out of the last game in Toronto. So the fans have a lot of impact. In the other series on the other side of the tournament with the Western Conference, you look at OKC, their fans are they stood the whole game last night. We'll talk about that later. The fans have a huge impact, and it's a big deal.
Well, let's make a call. I'm going to make a call tonight. I'm going to go out on a limb, and the problem is, if I root for a team, they're going to lose. So I feel bad on this, but I'm going to call it a close game. I'm going to call it Toronto by 5.
Okay.
In overtime.
Wow, that is a very big pick. I'm rooting for Toronto as well. I have a hard time picking them just because I feel like it's going to be tough for them on the road. I would love to see them go ahead and win because it would just make me happy. But I'm going to pick Cleveland by 3 in a close one.
All right.
Regular, no extended period. So
we'll see it.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
Well, we'll find out tonight. We'll update you as we continue on. And we just want to say we appreciate your time. And thanks for watching, folks. Okay, that one was pretty good.
Sorry, I didn't catch
No, that was, no.